The click of the lock echoing in the silent house was my cue. Rylee was home. I poured myself another finger of scotch, the amber liquid matching the burning in my chest. For weeks, I'd been playing the role of oblivious husband, the fool content in his domestic bliss. But the truth was a festering wound, a constant gnawing in my gut. I knew about Liam, her yoga instructor. I knew about the whispered phone calls, the late night work dinners, the hurried showers when she came home. I didn't confront her immediately. Not then. I needed to be sure, to gather my evidence, to build my case like a lawyer preparing for the trial of the century. And boy, did I build a case. I hired a private investigator, a discreet, efficient woman who provided me with photos, timestamps, even transcripts of their sickeningly sweet texts. Tonight was the culmination of my meticulous planning, the crescendo of my private opera of betrayal. On the kitchen table, nestled amongst bills and junk mail, sat a plain manila folder. On its front, in bold, black marker, I'd written two simple words, "Read me." Rylee entered, radiating a false cheerfulness that grated on my nerves. "Honey, I'm home," she chirped, the scent of his cologne clinging to her like a second skin. She froze, her eyes landing on the folder. Her forced smile faltered, replaced by a flicker of confusion, then fear. "What's this?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Just something I thought you should see," I replied, my voice calm, deceptively gentle. She snatched the folder, her hands trembling as she opened it. The color drained from her face as she flipped through the pages, the photos, the texts, the dates, times, locations. Her affair, laid bare in stark, undeniable detail. "Where, how?" she stammered, her eyes darting to mine, wide with panic. "Does it matter?" I asked, taking another sip of my scotch. "It's all there, isn't it? Everything you tried so hard to erase." She'd been so careful, so meticulous in deleting messages, covering her tracks. She thought she'd outsmarted me. She'd underestimated me. I'd accessed cloud backups, retrieved deleted files, pieced together the fragments of her deceit like a digital archaeologist. "James, she began, but the words choked in her throat. She crumpled onto a chair, the folder falling to the floor, the dam of her lies finally bursting. Tears streamed down her face, but I felt no pity, only a cold satisfaction. "I loved you, Rylee," I said, my voice laced with a bitterness I hadn't realized I possessed. "I trusted you, and you threw it all away for him." She sobbed, a pathetic, broken sound. She tried to explain, to justify, to beg for forgiveness. But her words were hollow, meaningless. The damage was done. I left her there, amidst the wreckage of her lies, and drove to Liam's apartment. It was a trendy loft in the city, the kind of place a yoga instructor, who also happened to be the trust fund baby of a prominent local businessman, could afford. I didn't bother knocking. I kicked the door open, the flimsy lock splintering under the force of my rage. Liam was there, shirtless, looking startled, a half-empty bottle of wine on the coffee table. "Who the hell?" he started, but I cut him off. "You know exactly who I am," I snarled, advancing on him, my fists clenched. "I'm Rylee's husband, the husband you've been screwing behind my back." He stumbled back, fear finally registering in his eyes. "Look, man, I didn't know." "Don't give me that crap," I roared, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him against the wall. "You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew she was married." I let him go, disgusted. I didn't want to touch him, to be any closer to the man who had defiled my marriage, my life. "It's over," I said, my voice low and menacing. "She's done with you, and if I ever see you near her again, you'll regret it." I left him there, a trembling mess, the remnants of his smug confidence shattered. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and the slow, agonizing process of disentangling our lives. Rylee tried to contact me, to apologize, to plead for a second chance. But I was done. The trust was broken, the foundation of our relationship crumbled to dust. The divorce was finalized quickly, surprisingly amicable given the circumstances. I kept the house, the dog, and most importantly, my dignity. Rylee left town, her reputation in tatters. Liam, I later learned, became the subject of local gossip, his affair with a married woman a stain on his pristine image. His trust fund couldn't buy him out of that scandal. I sold the house, a place filled with too many painful memories, and moved to a small town by the coast. I started a new job, made new friends, and slowly, painstakingly, began to rebuild my life. It wasn't easy. There were days when the pain resurfaced, when the memories of Rylee's betrayal clawed at my heart. But I learned to live with it, to accept the past and move forward. One evening, months after the dust had settled, I was sitting on my porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, when I received a text message. It was from an unknown number. I lost everything, it read. My job, my friends, my family. You were right. He wasn't worth it. It was Rylee. I didn't reply. I deleted the message, and with it, the last vestiges of my anger, my hurt, my lingering connection to her. I closed my eyes, breathed in the salty air, and finally, truly, let go. The sunset that night felt like a new beginning, the promise of a future free from the shadows of the past. My revenge wasn't just about exposing her lies. It was about reclaiming my life, my happiness. And in the end, that was the most satisfying victory of all.